So what were we talking about? Well, one of the things we've been talking about is perversion. I'll tell you what I think is really perverted. I think it's really perverted that the world hasn't celebrated those two pilots that disobeyed Muammar Gaddafi's orders to drop a load of bombs on some of his citizens, from what I gather. Like, why is there no goddamn ticker tape parade down Fifth Avenue or the Champs-Élysées in Paris for that? And why is it these men not celebrated? Why are they being allowed to drift off into obscurity where they can get punched fucking out by their previous commanding officers or any other military aficionado who happens to have a hard-on for people who disobey orders, who listen to orders from higher sources than their generals? That's what those men were clearly doing. I personally want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for that heroic and courageous goddamn effort. I'll never forget. And there's other heroes too. I mean, like jumping up and down all over the goddamn place, and we're sitting around in our stupor with our thumbs in our bums and our brain in neutral and not noticing it. Like Julian Assange, for instance. The head of WikiLeaks has to hide from officials in the United States government because he doesn't trust them not to snap his head off, basically, for releasing 9,000 pages of documents, which is just the beginning. Fuck. 9,000 pages. There's probably 90 million of them. And all of them are ours. Understand? Norway. Little bundle-funding country, nobody ever heard of, has the balls to stand up and say to the rest of the fucking universe, Vladimir Putin and Georgie Bush, those guys come to our country, we're going to defend them with our lives. You understand? Like, this is what humanity is capable of. Rising to occasions with finesse, grace, and honor, and fucking balls. And there's not much balls around that I can see these days. A few brass testicles, maybe, but they're easily snipped off, believe me, in a cold spell. Anyway, the point is, we ignore our heroes and we celebrate our mediocre bullshitters. We celebrate men who are picked because they are capitulative by nature. Now, capitulative by nature isn't a good thing to have making decisions for you. The people you want making decisions for you are people who are going to tell you the truth. And quite often that is not exactly what you want to hear, or what your egos want to hear. But your souls hunger for it, and they will not be satisfied without it. You understand? Osama bin Laden, let's take this for an example, a recent headliner, if you will. I personally saw, I'm pretty darn sure it was President Obama of the United States. It could have been a stand-in, but I'm going to give him credit, benefit of the doubt, and assume it's him standing in telling me it's imperative that I believe that horseshit. that I believe that some camel jockey out of the Middle East decided to become an airline pilot and drive aircraft into the World Trade Center all on his own. Because he's such a wicked little boy. And now we've got him, killed him dead. I've got no evidence to support it. I don't have any evidence to support that he exists to start with, but assuming that he ever did exist, we got him dead now, so the war can be over, because all the bad guys are gone. Well, you know what? I got news for you. The bad guys are getting scared. They know their days are numbered. And it don't look too promising to them, because you see, inside their own sickness, they can't see anything else. So they live in terror. The real terrorists are now terrorizing themselves, almost to death. You'll see kings and princes on the news 3 weeks ago said, "Fuck you, don't bother me, I'm busy fucking one of my wives." These men are running scared today. And they should. They should be very concerned. Now, in every civilization that's predominant all over the world today, there are myths in the culture and in their spiritual practices and religious practices about the end times, the final days, when things are going to get straightened around, and when kings will realize who they serve and why, and some kings will be no longer around, and some may still be. But change is happening now, and truth is coming to town. And there's nothing I can do about it. She's on her way. And she's got really pretty ribbons and bows, I'll tell you. But the really nice thing that she has is these healing waters that flow from her nipple, and it's a very nice nipple. I've seen a few nipples, and this one's pretty nice. Anyway, healing waters flow from this nipple. But in our previous tapes, we told you that you get the mud for free. No charge for the mud. It's like Billy Gates giving away computers and then charging you for every keystroke you make. But we don't charge you for no keystrokes. You get the mud for free. What you do with it is up to you. The mud has the possibility of transforming itself into spirit. That's a very different thing than mud. Now, mud joining with spirit is the majesty of God. It's not like this is pretty creative stuff. I'll tell you what, any piece of dirt you want, you get up and tell her to walk around. So, what God did is He combined pieces of dirt creatively, and inbuilt into it distinctions and certain hierarchy of imperative, if you will. You notice most everybody's got the 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 bum, and 1 mouth. You know, I have theorized about carving an extra bum between people's eyes periodically, or in the center of their forehead, but refrain my impulse. Refrain from exercising my impulse Anyway, the thing is, you know, most of it got a spinal column, phrenic nerve, you know, a heart, a couple lungs, some genitals, a couple boobs, you know, 2 feet, 2 hands. Got a lot of stuff that's the same about everybody. But a lot of stuff at the same time that's very different too. Huh? Why would somebody do that? What if diversity was of value? What if the actual survival genes in my DNA, if you will, scientists have gotten around to this recently, so we have a DNA fingerprint, if we can call it that. Each human being is, you know, somewhat different. Now, in that DNA, there's also attached a psychic DNA, which we have not discovered yet, but it's intermingled into the physiological DNA, and there's spiritual DNA also, isn't there? And so, from conception forward, you have light. So the hierarchy, so imperative that are prevalent in human beings are unstudied phenomena currently. And part of the process of transforming mud into spirit is a process of education. You gotta educate mud. So you can look at this period of time as a bother, as a costly exercise and retribution for crimes that I've committed. And I gotta give all back all the things I stole and all the rest of that crap. No, it's not crap, The stuff you stole was very important to you. It's just not consistent with how your DNA works to keep it. Understand? So there are things that are required for mud to transform itself into spirit. And disciplines that one must practice and exercise. Understand? You need to begin to be able to perceive yourselves as bigger than your wants. If you can't get that far, then the rest of the curriculum is not open to you. Understand? So, it requires practice of purifying my heart to even begin this process. It's not easy. And many times it will seem like it's going to take forever and then 10 years to get done. And it may, but I've never seen that happen. But I mean, it theoretically could, but most of the time, the process can be done in 3 to 7 years. It's not an overnight quick fix. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You're not going to get a bigger dick or, bigger boobs or smaller boobs or whatever type of facelift you want here. But what you will get is discipline, the tools of discipline that you can use to build your of spirit. Doesn't matter who you are, what you've done and what you haven't done. Or it doesn't matter what your inclination is, or what your religion is, or your politics, or your sexual orientation, or your resisted sexual orientation, or your resisted physical orientation, or whatever you're doing. What you need to start to transform mud into true spirit is one thing, and it's the worship of the true. I'm not even talking about God yet, because you can't even get the beginnings of the worship of God until you got this one down first. See, life's kind of like life. You know, like, you want to write a book, you got to learn how to memorize the alphabet. Memorizing the alphabet, you just got to do, no matter what, period, end of story, do whether you like it, you don't like it, doesn't matter. You want to write a book, that's what you got to do. None of that. You got to learn some grammar, and you got to spend a lot of time in dictionaries looking up words you don't know, nobody ever heard of, and these stupid writers using this stuff that making me work to understand what they're saying. So there's labor involved in building wings for spirit. It's like, if a butterfly cannot break out of her cocoon, she dies. She was a failed butterfly experiment. Now, God is not a big, failure of experiments. And I sure don't want him failing with this one, believe you me, for all kinds of reasons. But let me assure you of this. You do the work, you get the benefit. You don't do the work, put it this way, you take your chances. You do the work, you don't be taking no chances. Now, this is one of the reasons I'm not a gambling man. I have something so precious to me. I don't want to get nowhere close to losing it. None of it. Not even a single chip. So I don't gamble. But I make calculated judgments about what's in my own intelligent best interests. And I had to look at a man saying to me, it's imperative you believe my bullshit. And all his buddies run around to give him a hand job while he's up doing it. And I had to say, you know what? Today's the day. Today's the day. It's done. Give it up. You've got no hope in hell of succeeding with it. Capitulate quick when you've lost is advisable war strategy. I think it's imperative, Mr. Obama, that you don't necessarily believe what I say, but you at least give it some good, thorough consideration. You might want to bring some of that consideration to the back room, and you and your Republican boyfriends get together and jerk off. Talk about how you're going to sell some more weapons. Get good and rich. Get ready to lose all of it.